And good evening and welcome to the show, everybody. I think it's just going to be me and Mike tonight. We were thinking about trying to get somebody else on tonight, mostly because we're just kind of going to talk movies tonight. We're going to talk like Halloween favorites, past and present. Because for me personally, I try to get out of my comfort zone each Halloween. I've been doing that for a couple of years and watching things that I either missed when I was a kid or genres of movies or series of movies that maybe I didn't latch onto as a kid to see if I enjoy them. So it's always kind of fun to revisit this each year and see how our opinions have changed, if they've changed at all. So we're going to kind of be going into that tonight a little bit here and there. But we wanted to start off. Oh, there's L popping up in chat. And hey, L, thanks for popping in. But
Oh,
we
you know what?
wanted to
Let
start
me
off with
open
some
up.
Rumble news.
Yeah, let me open up both chats. I got to get back in the habit when I'm doing
Well,
when
yeah,
I'm
I
doing
know.
your
I know.
show. And
I want to move away from StreamYards. I've been so busy trying to set other things up and do other projects. I have not spent the time to configure OBS the way I need to so that I can move away from StreamYards and do what I want to do.
I mean, I need to pop out. I need to go over to the YouTube and pop out that chat too, so I can see what's
Gotcha.
going on there. Because I'm
Oh,
really,
see, I just used the StreamYard window for that one.
yeah. Oh, does it combine them?
It does combine them. You can't necessarily. Well, you can reply. You just.
I can't because I don't have a an account. So I'll just pop them both
Oh,
open.
okay.
That's okay. I'll pop them both open, and because I know I still have some good friends that are on the YouTube side.
Oh no, there's tons of people on the YouTube
Yeah,
side.
like
Zombie just popped
Zombie,
in. Matter
like
of
Brother
fact,
Zombie.
what's up, Zombie? So we
So,
got people kind of trickling in here, but we
yeah.
did want to kind of take a moment as he's getting everything set up. I'll go ahead and kind of do that. Rumble started setting up what they call a partner program a while back, and a bunch of people that we know applied and got accepted into the partner program. So that gives them a little bit of financial boost for doing kind of
Yeah.
what they're doing already. And it's kind of a nice prestige thing. They can put a partner badge on their channel and everything like that. So we here on RetroRoots would like to officially say congratulations to everybody who got into the partner
Absolutely.
program. We know, and I know a shocking amount of them actually, and they're all excellent people. They all have great content.
They really are.
If you guys are on the Rumble side, you should definitely check them out. Gamer Arrow is part of that. Gamer's Wife, Lumpy Potato,
Okay. Silver Fox.
Fused, Pudge,
Used.
Silver
UB,
Fox got
UB
accepted in
Legend.
there. UB
Goose.
Legend, Guardian Ruby got accepted, and that's
Yep.
just a handful off the top of my head. Pep Kella was another one.
Yep. Oh yeah, Sister Pep.
That also got it in. Not to forget her or anybody else that I forget to mention. Please don't take that as a slight. I've said congratulations to so many people today.
Yeah.
I have lost track.
Yeah. And
look,
look,
you all deserve it.
these are serious content creators. I mean,
They are.
We didn't I didn't apply for NLG because the requirements were 3 hours a day, which I do.
Well,
But
it's 2. I think it's like 10 hours a week, but I think it's like 2 hours a day. And somebody said
5 days,
consistently 5 days a week, but I don't know if that's true.
No, it was
I
consistent.
don't think Gamer's Wife streams 5 days consecutively.
I don't think she does either. But
she easily does 10 hours in a week.
I was told I do 10 hours in 2 days.
Yeah, sometimes she'll do 10 hours in one day.
Yeah,
it depends on what she's got going on. Also, another congratulations to her for her Saturday stream.
Oh my God.
She got featured on the front page, guys, and I have never seen small creators ever featured on the front page of anything.
That's
I've never seen
time.
YouTube
That's how I found her. The first time I actually found her, she was on the feature, and I popped in there.
Yeah, so she got featured again, and she had over 2,000 people watching her at one point. It was absolutely insane.
Zombie, you need to come over. Zombie says I'm considering
Zombie. Honestly, for streaming, I think it's a better platform. The streaming requirements is you have 5 followers, and don't worry about that. We'll handle that real fast,
dude. In a minute, between Nick and I, we'll get you 20.
Yeah. It will not take you long. Getting you 5 is easy, dude.
And in fact, 20 is when you get your own URL.
Oh, there's Cam. I'm sorry, I almost missed Cam coming in. Hey, Cam.
Where YouTube's 100, Rumble is 20.
Yeah, and honestly, you can start making money like day one on it. Once you can stream, you can immediately monetize, which is cool. So if you're
Yeah.
streaming and you can get all that set up and you can kind of do your thing.
Dude, Zombie, I'm
Um,
telling you, the traffic over here, it's ripe
yeah, a
for.
lot, dude. Even I on with like, even when I had like sub 100, it was easy to get 13, 14 people watching the stream. They weren't always chatting, but they're hanging out and they're watching.
Yep.
So I mean, it is not hard to start to garner an audience. And if you're active and you're regular and you keep a regular schedule, which I know most of you guys do, especially L. Um, L does a lot of content all the time, like daily. So there's a group of VTubers over here. There's at least two I know offhand, and they probably love to meet you.
Yep. Oh, dude, I'd love to introduce Zombie to
So
our
there's a
crew.
lot of good people over here, guys. It's worth checking out, even just as like a secondary platform. If you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool. I found I like a lot of the people on Rumble, but that in no way takes away from YouTube because I have an excellent community there too, and I wouldn't leave you guys for the world. Now I prefer to do my streaming on Rumble as opposed to YouTube. And a lot of you guys that know me know there's a couple of reasons for that. It's just easier to kind of keep some of the unpleasantness to a minimum when I'm on a platform like Rumble, which to some of you that may sound odd, but the gaming community is very focused just on gaming. So it's a non issue. And yeah, it's easy to integrate with OBS. The
No
only
harder
problem I
than.
have with it
Yep.
right now is they don't have static stream keys. So I have to change my stream key and my server information each time I want to stream.
But
So
that's coming.
that's the only hang up right
Yep.
now.
That's coming. And actually, I'm in the beta test for that, so I'm actually using a static stream key right now, and it is beautiful.
Oh, Hemp's going to
Hemp.
he said, got in live on time, gonna lurk while playing some Elden Ring. Thank you for popping in, Hemp.
Thanks,
Enjoy
brother
Elden
Leo.
Ring. I know Silver Fox has gotten a lot of people playing that one again because he's kind of been going through it again, and Lords of the Fallen, which I don't know that I have interest in that one yet. Zombie says, I need to get my OBS settings maxed. I've always had issues with that. I think your tolerance levels are higher for what you can put out on a stream on Rumble than they are on YouTube. I think you can go up close to 10,000 as opposed to 6,500.
Yeah, I go 8, and it's a nice medium. Zombie, DM me. You have me on Twitter, dude. DM me. Seriously.
Yeah, reach out to either one of us, man. You know how to hit me up on Discord. Mike's in the Discord
or Nick, because Nick, that's right, because you do use OBS for your game streams, and your game streams look phenomenal. So
yeah, well, it's just I learned a few tricks here and there because I wanted to start. I wanted to up my game a little bit, so I put in a little bit of extra time one day to start to figure that out. So I'm slowly getting better at it. I'm not nearly as good as some of the people that are on the platform, and certainly not as good as Panda Sub, who is streaming right now on Rumble. So if you guys should definitely check him out. He's playing Super Mario Wonder, which I definitely try. And I
that's nice.
That one, it looks like a ton of fun.
It looked good. Yes, L, you can.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Yeah. You can talk about anything you want.
Anything on here. So it's kind of a non-issue here.
Yep.
And they've actually gotten a lot of flack lately for not cracking down on people because they don't have any evidence on them, and it's all been kind of like speculation and social media pressure, and they refuse to bow down to it. It's gotten them a lot of flack.
But they stand up to every piece of it.
They do. They do. And they have not taken a knee at all.
No.
They gave you a strike? Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that's
stupid, man. I'm glad you were able to get it removed, though.
That's YouTube for you.
It happens, man. They'll snap on it, and then you have to contest it. And a lot of times you win, sometimes you won't.
But I mean, just the community. I keep coming back to the community. I know you do too, Nick, because we're now kind of really part of that deep. In fact, you were just featured in
yeah, I jumped onto the Rumble Gilded a while back, which is it's a gilded server where a bunch of creators come together, right? And it's hosted by
Yeah.
Fused Aegis and Pudge TV. Fused set it up, in fact. And oh, there's Switzerland. What's up, man? Good to
Hey,
see you.
clear
Thanks for
sight.
popping in, man. And they set it up, and as a way for a lot of us to kind of connect to each other and meet each other, find each other's channels, and support each other. Please don't scream. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to cause me to scream
Yeah,
tonight.
I don't think we're gonna wake you up. Don't worry.
No. I
Don't worry, you're all
I don't
good.
think so. Not tonight. Anyway, now there's been streams where that definitely would happen.
Yes.
And if I pick up a
yes.
Souls game again and try to stream it, it'll happen a lot. But not tonight.
I tell you what, I'm gonna drop your because I do want people to see it too. Give me a second. Come over and just guys watch a couple minutes of the show on Rumble and just take a look at the difference.
The stream quality is better. Like absolutely. And I have to manually set it up to like 1080p now for some reason. It doesn't auto set for me. But even not having it 1080p, I think it looks cleaner than YouTube personally.
I think it does too.
So it just the stream quality itself is a notch above right now, and
whatever
it has. I think it has a lot to do with it being probably in your infrastructure because they're a newer company.
Yep.
And they're also a smaller company, and they don't have as many people on here, so they don't have to choke the bandwidth as much. They can allow you to use a little bit more of it, and it's nice. It's nice to have it.
Well, and I think what was going on, and because the static stream key thing, all it does is just map to whatever stream key it gives you. I think one of the reasons that they didn't originally have Stampede that they didn't have static stream keys is because they're load balancing you. They're finding a server that not many people are on or less people are on, and that's where they're putting you. There she is.
There's Elle. So we're not gonna take too much time just talking about
No.
We wanted to mention to you guys, and then some of you guys had questions, so we wanted to cover that.
Yeah.
But we do want to get to our topic tonight because I
get down to a rabbit hole if we
just before 10 because I have to log back into work. I have a maintenance going tonight, so we can't run as long as I would normally like to run on this, just because of work. So nothing else other than work. Just finished watching the entire Scream series. Ooh. See, I've only seen like the first 2 or 3 of those, and I quite enjoyed. I loved how they took the horror movie genre and made fun of it while making a good horror movie at the same time. I thought it was probably the most creative thing that Wes Craven has thought of since he did Freddy Krueger. And I still went back and watched the Freddy Krueger movies, and a lot of them. I haven't finished all of them yet. I think I finished 5 of them, 1 through 5. And those still hold up really well. I was surprised how good even the first one held up. And I don't know if Batman movies are considered Halloween. Born.
Hold on. I can answer that. Die Hard is considered if Die Hard is considered a Christmas movie, then we have to call Batman a Halloween movie.
I would say Batman 2 easily fits that kind of horror because Danny DeVito and that's just nasty.
Yes. But I thought that Halloween.
What's up, Tyrone? How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Oh.
I'd like to play a game, try to guess who the killers are between the second. I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that was the other cool thing about Scream is they kept subverting some expectations, and I haven't watched a lot of those this year. This year, I primarily focused on Freddy Krueger and Jason. Because I hadn't seen all the Jason movies. I'd been kind of all over the board. I'd seen 8. I'd seen the reboot one. I'd seen 10 a few times just because it was too cheesy and over the top not to watch. And I think I'd seen 1 or 2 of the others, like maybe 4 or something like that. But it was all out of order. So I started with the first one and went all the way through 9. And honestly, they started out kind of okay. But they progressively got better. And I think that was mostly because like the effects and everything got better as the movies went along. Because you gotta remember, I think the first Jason movie is like 1981, right? It came in hot off the heels of, I want to say Halloween 2, which was like maybe 79 or 80. um, which pretty much started out popular. Well, it popularized the slasher genre itself, right? So Jason owes a ton of its DNA to Halloween, right?
Right.
My favorite Friday the 13th right now, I think it's either 8 or 10. Honestly, I liked 9 okay, but I thought 9 was kind of stupid. And the reason I say that is because they introduced something brand new into it with him trying to be reborn and all this weirdness, and then really hardcore focused on that the whole movie when that had not been a thing at all, or mentioned, or hinted at. Like, it was just out of left field. It was just so weird. Now, if you're talking about combo movie, I'd say Freddy versus Jason is absolutely the best one between the two of them. It was the most fun and the most madcap, and I think that's why I liked it so much. Elsa sounds good. The L in LCX stands for lazy. Oh, wait till it's a little bit easier to set up simultaneous streaming. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
And I know how to do that, and I can help you with that.
Matthews, I mentioned it and its importance for starting the slasher genre, and that's as far as I got. But I haven't gotten any further than that. 2 is solid, and I did like the zombie aspect with 6. I thought the design for Jason in 6 was particularly good. It was a lot more scary than it was in most of the Jason movies, so I can go with you on that one. And 2 is kind of the first time you actually see Jason, because the first one it's not Jason at all, and then the third one I don't think it's Jason at all either. No, that might be 4. I think that's 4. Yeah, it's 4. It's not Jason at all in 4.
I can't keep up. You know,
I
it's
just
sad when
watched
they're,
them. It's the only reason I can kind of keep up. I literally
you
just
know,
watched them. They were all on
it's
HBO Max, and we have Max as part of our cable plan. So, and I think my out of footprint account with the company I work for also supplies it. So I had multiple ways of being able to get access to Max this year, which has pretty much all the Freddy Krueger movies and all the Jason movies this year. And I think they got a lot of the Scream movies this year too. They went really hardcore on the horror movies this season. So
it's sad when you have to think which has more, Friday the 13th movies,
oh, there's more Friday the 13th movies than there are Freddy Krueger movies.
Fast and Furious.
Oh, depends.
Oh no,
If you count the Shaw and Hobbs and the other side movies, then Fast
Right.
and Furious has more movies.
Right.
If you don't, then they're about tied.
Right. Hobbs and Sean Hobbs versus
Hobbs
Freddy
and Shaw,
Jason.
and then there was
Freddy versus
something
Jason.
else, I think. It's okay, Hemp, man. The fact that you're hanging out's cool, man. I appreciate it.
No. Chat. You could play games later, Leo.
Wow. And
He
Mike
is
comes
not.
down
He
with a
is
hammer.
not chatted. He has not chatted in one of my streams in like 2 weeks.
I think he's been
I'm
sucked
starting
into
to think.
Elden Ring, man.
I'm starting to think he doesn't like me anymore.
Oh, geez. Now comes the guilt trip.
Uh-huh.
That's how it is. You were playing it up in Lumpy's Discord. Now you're playing it up here. It's the world's tiniest little violin for you, sir.
All by myself.
Yeesh. He liked the remakes of Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare. Now, I've seen the remake of Friday the 13th. I haven't seen any of the Halloweens past Halloween 2. And I thought those were good, but I thought they were kind of plodding and slow. And overall, I found Mike Myers a very uninteresting character. And that's saying something compared to Jason, who has no personality that he's aware of. Like, none.
Well,
so, to answer your point, Matthews, we are now talking about Halloween. That I agree with you.
I don't
is more than a bit overrated, but I've only seen 2 of those movies, and I think there's like 8. So I don't really know about the rest of them.
See, it's weird because of the 2. I think that Jason. I think both of those characters have mental issues, obviously, but I think Jason is the smarter of the 2. I think Mike Myers just, I don't know.
Well, Jason, Mike Myers gets more interesting if you talk about like the the curse that they introduced in 3, because apparently he was cursed to have to kill his family or something like that. And I'm like, okay, this brings in
Right.
an air of supernatural and ties him to like this cult group, and this starts to make
Yeah.
him kind of more interesting, right? But then they threw all that out
Yeah.
the window later, so I don't know that it
Yeah.
really matters.
You're like, nah, never mind.
Never mind, we're gonna go this route with it. And they
Yeah,
did it a lot
retcon,
with
retcon,
Halloween. Like the
retcon.
first 2 were consistent, and they had a focused goal, and then after that, they started kind of bouncing around because they knew people liked the character, but they weren't really sure what to do with the character, right? And
Right.
I think the remake that Stampede's talking about is the one that Rob Zombie did, because I think he did a
Yes.
remake of
Those are
Halloween.
the yeah. He did the Halloweens.
I haven't watched
I,
Amityville. I
I
keep meaning
can't.
to sit down and watch it, but I haven't gotten to it.
There is something so special about the original. I can't watch. That's one I just don't want to. I have a hard time with these remakes because the originals were so good, and I always feel like they do something to ruin the remakes just to cash grab it.
It
Now,
depends on how they modernize it. Like if you were to remake
right?
like Jason now, I can only oh god, please don't. God, just
No,
don't do it now.
no.
The way the political climate is now, I couldn't imagine what they try to do with that character now.
Oh no,
It'd be awful.
they'd be awful. Would have pronouns. No, I'm saying
A Leprechaun
like,
versus Chucky movie, I'd watch that.
oh, that would
I
be
would
a good one.
absolutely watch
That would be a good one. But
that.
I don't, Stampede. If you remember the original, I think it was 1978 or 79 was the original Amityville Horror. That movie freaked me out in a way that I couldn't sleep for days, especially when, and I don't think I'm spoiling it, the movie is 45, 50 years old now, when they were trying to drive away from the house and the car would drive off screen and then they cut to, the guy, the front of the car, blah, blah, and then the next scene, they're driving back into the house. That was freaky.
Yeah, the one that messed me up as a kid, if we're talking about the ones that messed us up the most, was probably Candyman back in like the 90s to 2000, not the remake, but like the original one. And I just remember that one being, because it's the first time I really sat down and tried to watch a horror movie in the theater, and there was so much gore and it was so graphic at the time. Like this day, you won't get me to walk into a mirror and say that 3 times. It just doesn't happen. Carla!
I love how face fuchsia tongue.
I know.
Person, turquoise, waving.
A lot of stuff does not translate well into into this. I don't know why. It's so weird. But now that's one of the ones that messed me up the most, and I've still not gone back and watched that one since. I haven't seen the remake because didn't they?
When he was running out of the boathouse and saw the face in the mirrors,
before they rebooted it?
Yes, there was an Amityville too. I don't.
No, I was talking about Candyman, but I know there was a couple Amityvilles.
Yeah.
And didn't they do like a Netflix series or something like that as well for Amityville?
I want to feel like they tried, but I don't remember. But yeah, running
it
out
might
of
have been like the
Boathouse.
Haunting of Hill House or something like that. Which
would have
been
the haunting on the house on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
There was that, and well, I'll tell you the movie that messed me up the most. And this one, like to this day, I have a hard time watching. Carrie.
And I haven't watched Carrie. I haven't gotten it out. I've seen a lot of the Stephen King ones now.
Don't watch the new one with what's I can't remember her name. Don't watch the newer one.
Well, that was the one where the girl that played Hit Girl. I can't even remember her name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and she
didn't she play Carrie in that one?
She did.
Okay.
Don't watch that one. Watch the original Stacy Spacek one.
That's the one I would want to go back and watch first before I watched.
Oh my god!
I saw Christine. I want to say last year, and that one was actually good.
Oh my god, that one screwed me up. That's an awesome movie, and not because of the car, but because what happened to the main character.
Carla's like, I used to wish I could be like Carrie.
Right, just when she okay. The thing about that movie had nothing to do with the actual things she did. It was absolutely 100% the look on her face when it was happening. It didn't matter. Like all the things that went on were, it's a horror movie and all these people are going to die. It was the look on her face as it happened, and then as she walked out. And I couldn't sleep for days.
I could see that.
Poltergeist too.
Poltergeist is
Matthews.
amazing. I was actually talking to Nicole, my wife, and talking to her about like a lot of the horror movies and how I wasn't overly impressed with the Jason movies because it just seemed to be a reason to throw gore and boobs on screen. Not that throwing those things on screen is bad, but they weren't really scary, right? But stuff like Poltergeist, The Exorcist, as I'm mentioning this, I'm like, wait a minute, I think I'm mostly talking about Spielberg films that I'm finding scary, which makes sense because Spielberg back in his day, because like Jaws, if you were to watch that back in the day, that's a terrifying film.
Oh, Jaws,
I don't necessarily consider that a Halloween film, but that's a genuinely scary film. That scared the crap out of my father. He said he wouldn't go in the ocean for years after that.
Except for the third one.
Yeah, the third one, the 3D one, was a little hinky.
Chloe Grace Moretz was who played Carrie in the remake.
Okay. I think that is the same girl who was in Kick-Ass and a couple of other movies.
Yes, she was.
She's a pretty solid actress. I remember enjoying her in the films, but I could see her maybe not working as well in that role.
No, Sissy Spacek had the look. Like Chloe's Carrie didn't scare me at all. I to this day get uncomfortable watching Sissy Spacek as Carrie. Like
I could see that.
Yeah. And Carla, the original Psycho with Anthony Perkins.
Yeah, Carla mentioned I haven't seen the original Psycho.
That wasn't necessarily a horror movie because it was Alfred Hitchcock. It wasn't.
Yeah, he mostly did like murder mystery stuff. Now I hear a lot of people say The Birds is pretty impressive, at least for its time too.
Yes. But Anthony Perkins.
So Jaws counts as that makes Sharknado a Halloween movie. Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
I don't know if I really actually count Jaws as a Halloween film though. It's not what pops in my head when I think Halloween. I do love watching that movie and the second one. I just think they're very good films.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they don't pop in my head as horror for some reason.
I guess you could call Psycho a psychological horror.
Yeah. I guess you really could. Speaking of psychological horror and actual horror, Event Horizon, I think, is vastly undersold.
Yes.
As a horror movie. And then that brings up like Alien. I would say Aliens, but I didn't think Aliens was super scary, but Alien was. I like Aliens better as a movie, but I think Alien is scarier.
But I also consider those sci-fi.
They are, but they're sci-fi horror.
No.
Well, they're intended to be horror movies, just science fiction horror.
Yeah, to me that's like saying Predator was a horror movie.
Kinda, but I consider that more action.
Yeah.
I mean, it was more action oriented, kind of like Terminator. Terminator, in its own way, is a horror film, particularly if you're afraid of technology and its advancement. That can be truly terrifying. But I still consider it more action.
It was rated R, that was for sure.
Yeah. And him's like Alien is an amazing movie, and Alien is an amazing movie.
It absolutely is.
I had far more fun with Aliens on the whole. I thought it was
I
thought it showed how dangerous the alien species was, to a greater extent than Alien did.
Yeah, but
Alien was scarier.
Leo makes a good point. To a child, these are horror movies. I understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I understand. To a child, Jaws is a horror movie. Well, it kind of is, but it's Spielberg, Spielberg always considered Jaws a thriller. But yeah,
Yeah.
A freaking giant, like I yeah, a big giant killer shark.
Yeah, I get.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I can kind of see that, but then it's kind of like calling Meg and Meg 2 a horror movie. They're really
Meg,
not.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I get it.
I mean, I like them. They're fun movies. I mean, they're cheesy D level movies, but then most of these movies we're talking about really are kind of B and D and B level schlock films, right? Particularly like the
Yes,
Jason and Freddy movies weren't really
absolutely.
considered like high end movies at the time, right? Even Terminator was considered like a B level film.
Yep.
Matter of fact, funny story with Terminator. I found out later. I was watching some YouTube videos, and had an interview with him and Lena Hamilton, and they said we were filming the first Terminator movie, and he's like, I got asked by James Cameron to go over and like punch the window out of this car, and he's like, I go over there and I punched the window of the car. He's like, one, we weren't authorized to even be there, like we didn't have permits or anything. He's like, secondly, we didn't own the car. He's like, so I got arrested.
Yeah, I see. There you go. I'm kind of with Matthews. Hey, Corge, I'm kind of with Matthews. Jaws is no more a horror movie than Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see
Now,
that. What's up, George? Good to see you, man.
Jaws reminded me of another Stephen King. I mean, most of Stephen King's, but Cujo.
Yeah, I haven't watched it
Cujo.
yet. I think I've read the book, but I don't think I've actually seen the movie. And Christine, I've seen the movie, but I haven't read the book. I'm kind of all over the place with Stephen King, right? But I could see why Cujo would be scary. That makes total sense. And see him saying he's still scared of Jaws. And see, I don't really get scared of Jaws, but for some reason, I think the acting is so good in that movie.
Oh, Roy Schneider was
Like the
amazing.
cast is just phenomenal in that movie.
It was Roy Schneider and
to go back and watch it, even if I've just seen it, I'll watch it and go, maybe I want to put this on again.
We're gonna need a bigger boat. It was Roy Schneider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss was in it.
Yeah,
a very young Richard Dreyfuss, Lorraine Gray. I mean, there was some good. It was a great movie.
It was a great cast, man, and they just did such a good job of presenting their characters and their personalities and how everything worked in it.
And Robert Shaw.
Yep. And I think what makes older movies like this memorable, particularly ones like Jaws, where they really did focus on the character dynamics and had the actors act, because it's one of the things where you'll watch a lot of the Freddy and Jason movies, but they don't really put a lot of focus on any of the characters. The actors don't have to be very good, and they really don't care because they're going to kill them off on screen anyway. They don't really want you to engage with them. They want you to empathize with. They want you to root for the bad guy in those films, right? That's kind of the point. So most of the characters, A, aren't very good, and B, the acting isn't great. Although they have had some notable people in there. Johnny Depp was in the very first Nightmare on Elm Street, and I believe Halle Berry was in the fifth one, like a young Halle Berry. I swear it's Halle Berry.
Christian Slater was in Dream Warriors.
Oh yeah, I didn't even recognize him in Dream Warriors, but yeah. So, I mean, there's been some notable names that came out of there, and that's how they got their start. And a lot of actors do get their start that way, but the acting isn't the point. But in Jaws, the whole thing was meant to be just a film about a really, really scary shark. So there was a lot more character development and real acting in it. And it stands out more now today than it did then. And I think it has to do a lot with just the way acting is done now. And let me clarify that a little bit. And I think that itself has to do with the fact that we're so focused on action and effects and other things driving the story that the actors don't have to convey the character's personality as much, because that's not what's driving the story. Whereas they didn't have those budgets or those effects then, so the actors had to pull you into the story more, right? So it's kind of a difference in philosophy as much as it is quality of actors. Yeah, Spielberg's part, though, he loves to make everyone look good. He's an actor's director. Exactly. And Jaws is based on a book, and so is Jurassic Park. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, you're wrong. So yeah, I mean they had a much better basis to work on, but there's been plenty of movies that were just based off of like scripts. Like the original Star Wars is much better than a lot of the lines that are in it because of the way the actors played it. And that was just a script. That wasn't really a book before. So I mean there's that kind of goes both ways. And I think a lot of it has to do with the era too and the technology.
Yes.
Because when you're looking at a different era where you don't have as much technology, you have to lean more into the human element to be able to sell your movie. Whereas you don't necessarily have to do that as much now. It's just not necessary.
No.
Corge, we can go back as far as you want to. I've been watching the Hammer horror films. I've seen Curse of Frankenstein this year, and I've seen The Mummy. We started the horror of Dracula, but I haven't gotten through it yet because that weekend I was intentionally trying to get like completely plastered and succeeded and ended up being way too tired to finish the movie. So I need to go back and restart that one from the beginning. But I've seen the Universal horror movies. I've seen Phantom of the Opera, Invisible Man, the Wolfman, um, Dracula, the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I might be missing one or two. There was like 6 or 8 of them I watched, and those were the Universal ones are amazing. If you have any tolerance for black and white films, I highly recommend going back and watching all of those because they are phenomenal movies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Creature from the Black Lagoon was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
Yep.
I thought The Invisible Man was outstanding. I couldn't believe what they managed to do without green screen. I thought that movie was just amazing. I was in awe of that movie the whole time I was watching it. How they did the effects, it just blew my mind. Dracula with Philip Glass is top notch. The Universal one with Bela Lugosi is amazing. It's so good. And I was quite enjoying Horror of Dracula, honestly, but it reminded me more of like the set design reminded me of like a late era original Star Trek set almost in places. It was kind of funky. It was this weird mix of styles that my brain wasn't quite connecting with, but it was very good. I was enjoying it. Vincent Price, Last Man on Earth. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. I can't remember much I've seen with Vincent Price in it. I haven't seen a lot of his filmography, and I know it's pretty extensive.
Vincent Price has had some great, and a lot of his stuff is B-rated stuff. I mean,
well, that's a lot of people. Yeah, Gorge is even mentioning Alfred Hitchcock had a couple of great ones. We mentioned Psycho because Carla mentioned it, and we also mentioned The Birds. You could maybe argue Vertigo, but I don't know if I would put that in horror. I mean, it's psychological horror, and in a sense, in its own way.
And I know this is it's a semi horror, but I was thinking of, one of the actors in the original Carrie was William Catt, who also, as everybody knows, was Greatest American Hero. But he did a kind of a very B level horror comedy, is the best I could call it, called House. I don't know if you've ever.
I think I've heard of this, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's, how do I explain it?
Opinion on colorizing black and white films. I mean, if it makes it more palatable for a younger audience to go back and watch those films, I'm for it. I like those in black and white personally. I had a lot of fun with them as black and white, but I finally think I've gotten to the age to where I want to go back and explore those films in the way they were originally filmed, right?
Yeah.
So my mind is more open to that experience than somebody else may not be. So I think both is good, but I would probably lean towards the original personally. Matthew's like, House, it was so stupid. I kind of love it a little bit.
It was, I mean, it really was. It was when I said, because when I say it is a horror comedy, I'm not kidding. Like it's it.
And so You Wrong's also bringing up Alfred Hitchcock as the first to bring a serial killer to life on screen. And I can totally see
Yep.
that. Yeah. Because that would be Psycho, basically.
Yeah. So we were talking about Dracula movies, and I'm not going in that direction. I watched it with my wife the other night. She hated it.
The other night.
She hated it. It requires a bit of. I mean, come on! It's got Richard Mole in it. It requires a little bit of putting away your brain for a couple hours.
I'll be honest. There's another one that requires to put your brain away from it, and I like this movie. Before you guys break out the torches and pitchforks,
please say Transylvania. Yeah. Okay.
It's in that weird schlock kind of cheesy goofiness.
I was hoping you'd say
still being
Transylvania
scary
65000
at the same time. That you kind of have to just you have to lean into where it's going, right?
I know.
Otherwise, you're gonna have a bad time.
I was hoping you were going to say Transylvania 65000.
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
That is another. I mean, it's.
Mark Johnson says he's on a Dracula binge. Hey, Mark, I don't know that I've seen you in chat before. Thank you for showing up.
Hey, Mark, welcome. It's another horror comedy, and it has Jeff Goldblum in it.
I could see liking this film.
Yes,
especially early Jeff
Ed
Goldblum.
Begley Jr. is in
really
it.
Underrated movies.
I mean, I remember seeing it as a kid. It was definitely a comedy movie, but it had those elements, kind of horror-ish elements to it.
Matthew says, I didn't hear the movie Nick said. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So what we
really like that movie, by the way.
The movie we haven't touched on that also had a remake that was horrible, but the original was oh so freaking good. Fright Night.
I struggle with Fright Night. I really do. There's parts of it I like, and there's parts of it where like the vampire in that one just seems so stupid. He's so stupid. Like he's just, I don't know. There's nothing imposing about him. He seems like
about who?
The main vampire in Fright Night.
Brandon?
Yeah. Like there's nothing really imposing about him.
Yes, there is. He was creepy as hell.
He seems like an 80 Posers Club guy.
No. You're thinking of his roommate, the guy who lives with him. No, Chris Sarandon. And like I remember when they first found out.
I love Young Frankenstein, but I don't know if I'll call it horror, but I love that film.
No, it's not a horror movie, but and hemp, it's Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein. He does it a lot in the movie.
Yeah,
Friday Night Best Vampire movie ever. I would argue, I would lean more Lost Boys there because I loved Lost Boys.
I put Lost Boys up there. Absolutely Lost Boys.
And I absolutely see this correlation. Monster Squad is the Home Alone of Halloween. I can absolutely totally go there.
Yeah, but Jerry Dandridge, dude, he comes into Charlie's room and lifts him up and chokes him, tries to choke him out, and he destroys his car. Oh my Lord.
See him sitting here going, I know, right? I just wanted to say it out loud. I just watched Lost Boys. And I want to watch it.
No, he's talking about Frankenstein.
HBO Max as well.
Yes.
So it's right in there. And actually I want to watch that with a buddy of mine. I want to finish Horror Dracula first, but then he's never seen Lost Boys. And he's like almost 40. I'm like, how did you miss Lost Boys? I'm like, you're pushing 40, man. You're in that age group. How did you miss Lost Boys?
Yeah. Now the remake of Fright Night.
Karate Kid, a Halloween movie.
Technically.
Kinda.
Technically.
I mean, he gets his ass kicked by spooky, scary skeletons.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. But again, do not watch the remake of Fright Night because I'm
Lost
sorry.
Boys is the one with Kiefer Sutherland in it. I don't know about the rest of the cast. I just remember Kiefer Sutherland
It's got the
and him being
Coreys in it,
truly
doesn't it?
creepy in that film.
Doesn't that have the? Doesn't have that? It's no, it's it's Kiefer. It's sugar. It's Kiefer Sutherland. It's it is. It's got the Coreys in it. Corey Haim's in it. Corey Haim
Oh
was
yeah,
in it.
wasn't he a vampire in that one?
No, he was, and I think Corey Feldman.
Oh, he was a younger brother, wasn't he?
Yes, and I thought Corey Feldman was the vampire hunter.
And
yes,
freaking the
thank
girl
you.
who played Star in that movie. Oh my god.
Oh, Jamie Gertz. Yes, I love Yeah, so both Coreys were in there. Corey Feldman was Edgar Frog. Edgar Frog. That's who
I never
he was.
saw Speed 2. I kind of tapped out after Speed 1. Wasn't Speed 2 on a cruise boat?
Yeah, it was horrible.
Just seemed like a really dumb premise.
Yes. Trying to think. So it's Kiefer. It was trying to think who else was in there. Diane West was in there. But Lost Boys. Oh,
it's such a good film, man.
It is.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Pet Sematary. Yeah, Bill from Bill and Ted was one of them. I saw him on the box art and I'm like, wait, was he in this movie? Like, I keep expecting to go, excellent. He's biting somebody's neck. Did Lost Boys come out before or after Bill and Ted? Where is that?
Lost Boys was Lost Boys was 87, I want to say.
I want to say Bill and Ted was like 89, wasn't it?
Let's see. Bill and Ted.
89 for Bill and Ted.
89 when Bill. Okay, so yeah.
Okay,
so Lost Boys came out first.
So we wouldn't have been thinking. We wouldn't have been looking at him as like, as like Bill. No,
that's Alex. That's because Bill is Alex Winter. Who was?
See, I don't know that I agree with that, man. Like,
I do. I do.
I don't. I couldn't get into Fright Night. I struggled with it, but then I struggled with Hellraiser too. I watched those last year or the year before, and no offense to Freak of 4, but I just it's too much S&M, too little horror for me. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, and let me make sure So, and you're right. Alex Winter was in the Lost Boys. So here's Fright Night and here's Lost Boys. I'm not talking like here's Fright Night. I mean, they are right there.
The thing is, I don't know. Like Lost Boys, I could engage with. Interview with the Vampire, I could engage with. Like Horror Dracula, I can engage with. The original 1930s Dracula, I can easily engage with. Fright Night just wasn't clicking with me for whatever reason. And I don't know why. I may have to go back and watch it again just to see if it clicks better.
You don't have to like it.
I'm just curious to see if watching it again now that I've seen more Dracula movies, if it clicks better. That's all.
Okay.
That would be a personal thing, not because of peer pressure, and give a flip about peer pressure.
I think part of it is that the way Chris Sarandon played.
I love Frighteners. Is that Halloween though? That was a really good film.
I mean, the Jerry Dandridge had all the charm of Dracula, but I guess because there was instead of Von Helsing, there was the Roddy McDowell character. There you go. All right, so you wrong said Interview with a Vampire and the Bram Stoker's Dracula, which we didn't even bring up, are both basically soft porn.
I do like the Bram Stoker's Dracula, but I do agree those go a little bit.
It's not.
Those are kind of in line with the original Dracula story. The original Dracula story is, if you've ever actually read the book, which I've got, I think I got about 300 some odd pages out of a 400-page book.
No, it is.
But it's very much erotica mixed with horror, like the
Yes.
book is.
No,
So
it
Bram Stoker's
absolutely
Dracula
is.
actually stayed pretty close to that, honestly. I mean, Keanu's not a great dramatic actor, but the film
No,
I thought worked still.
because of Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman's amazing.
Gary Oldman as Dracula was actually really good.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins was amazing in that movie as Van
Yes. Yes,
Helsing.
he was. And Hemp mentioned Frighteners as well earlier. And I like Frighteners. I think that's a
I
very
don't
good
remember
film.
Frighteners.
Frighteners had
I don't remember that
Secret
one.
of My Success, Back to the Future. Um, God, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I can think of his face. He's got like palsy now. Um, he basically plays like a guy who can see ghosts and kind of hunts ghosts as a result, right? And so he ends up hunting these two particular ghosts that were like serial killers in their real life, and then continue to kill people in the afterlife. And they'll mark their victims with like a number, right? The next number of their kill. And they taunt him the whole time while he's hunting them. And he's the only one that can see the mark on people's heads and stuff. It's
Gotcha.
really interesting. I thought it was a really, really good film. It was kind of kind of a low key film. And it was low. It was way, 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 way back. Way late in, it's going to bug me. It's going to bug the crap out of me. Why I can't think of this. Michael J. Fox. It was late in Michael J. Fox's career before he really started kind of backing away because he was having trouble staying still, and focusing on his acting because of his, there he goes. Because of his medical condition. So he started to kind of back away from the limelight. He still comes out and does things occasionally, but he doesn't do it very often. So that was like one of his later films, if I recall. And I had fun with it. I do recommend it if you have time to sit down and watch it, any of you, to find a copy of Frighteners to watch. I don't know if it's on any streaming service or anything this year. And I don't know that if it got moved to Blu-ray or not. So I don't know where you'd find a actual physical copy unless you know somebody who has it. But it's a fun film. I had a good time with it for sure.
All right. So what about, and again, not the remake, the original, The Fog. Did you ever see The Fog?
I don't think I ever saw the original Fog. I don't know if it was The Fog or The Mist that had the dude from Punisher in it. And I think it was The Mist that I saw. And honestly, I thought it was kind of interesting. They had this whole spider monster thing that could paralyze and that would just kind of come out of the fog. And they had kind of like these Cthulhu monsters and stuff. And I thought that was kind of cool. But I don't think I've actually seen The Fog yet.
That one scared me.
I need to sit down and watch The Fog. I actually kind of want to sit down and watch The Blob as well and the stuff.
I remember The Blob.
I saw I think it's Phantasma, the one with the floating orb thing and the tall guy. I saw the first one of those and I was really, really underwhelmed. A buddy of mine swears by those movies. He says they're like the best thing ever. And I was, oh God, I was so bored. I was like 40 minutes in going, oh my God, for the love of all that's holy, do something interesting.
Would we consider then a movie like The Swarm?
I haven't seen The Swarm. What's up, Scrambles?
Scrambles!
Makes me weep like a baby. I mean, hi, y'all.
That's a horror movie in and of itself, too, is Land Before Time. I mean, come on. The dinosaurs die at the
end. It's Peter Jackson, Mike. He says you need to watch it. It's a brilliant performance from the dude from Reanimator. That's another one I haven't seen is Reanimator. I haven't seen Scanners either. Or the Fly movies. I need to sit down and watch the Fly movies.
Those are amazing too.
I just haven't gotten to them. Like every year I try to go into something and I have not hit on those yet.
But again, only the original. The Jeff Goldblum and
no, those were the ones I intend to watch. Like the Fly
and Gina
1 and 2.
I think it was Gina Davis was
Yeah, was she like the love interest in that one or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, those were the ones I want to see. I want to see the first and second one of The Fly because I think those are the two with Jeff Goldblum. Well, the first one is especially. I don't know about the second one.
I didn't like the second one. I thought, see, that was one of those that the
You wrong
second
says the Son
movie.
of Flies garbage.
Yeah. See, once they tried to mainstream it.
Well, Marty McFly is not a villain in Frighteners.
Oh my goodness.
Knock a fly.
And I guess if you're going to watch The Fly, don't watch. I mean, because the original The Fly was 1958. Now that I think about it.
I can't go back to the pawn shop. They had too much cook stuff. What? Apparently, Scrambles is just going into the pawn shop and buying everything. Apparently,
Oh, with a seven
seven-string guitar. Yeah, apparently,
he's saying that because I'm here.
Probably. Now, on the more fun side, to go on the more lighthearted side, other than just like horror movies, because Halloween to me is kind of like an all-encompassing thing. You can do horror movies, or you can do like fun movies, right?
I got one for that too. Go ahead.
Go right ahead. You go ahead and start.
Oh no, I want to see what yours is.
Well, my top one is Nightmare Before Christmas. That's probably one of my all-time favorite films.
Okay, I gotcha. That's a little different than what I was thinking.
Okay, what were you thinking?
Creepshow.
I haven't seen Creepshow.
You've never seen Creepshow?
I haven't seen Creepshow.
Oh my goodness. Dude, Creepshow was great. It was not, it doesn't take itself too seriously. But did you ever see did you ever see Tales from the Crypt on HBO?
I saw a little bit of it, but I was younger at the time, and so a lot of the Tales from the Crypt stuff freaked me out. So I didn't dive too deep into it as a series.
Okay. Creepshow was a series of stories, like short stories. And it had like Ted Danson was in one of them. And they were a little scary, but they weren't meant to be. They were meant to be kind of goofy, sort of like Tales from the Hood.
That's another one I didn't watch, but I think I didn't watch that because I wasn't into Tales from the Crypt at the time. So Tales from the Hood was kind of in that same vein. So I think I just didn't lean that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of my more fun Halloween movies are more fun and playful. A lot of them are animated, right?
Yeah.
Like Monster House is another one that I think is great fun to watch. It's just dark enough to be kind of creepy for kids, but it's also just a fun movie. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, Disney also did
the Legend of Ichabod Crane.
Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, that one's really good too. I enjoy that one.
That's a classic.
Yeah, it is a classic one around this time. And Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown was another one.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly hard to find to watch anymore. Like I don't even know where to watch it anymore. But that's another
the Charlie Brown stuff comes on once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, they also did The Legend of Sleepy Hollow as an animated.
Yeah, they also did. They also did just straight Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. That was done, I think Tim Burton directed that.
Yep.
And that was kind of a cool film.
That was actually good. That had that Edward Scissorhands kind of thing with it.
And so Wrong brings up another one I haven't sat down and watched. I've seen it, but I've never sat down and watched it. And that's Little Monsters.
Little Monsters.
Yeah. With Howie Mandel and Fred Savage. Now, I've heard good things about it. I've just never sat down to watch it for whatever reason. And another one that's more recent, I know you guys are going to laugh at me for this one, because objectively, it's an awful movie, and that's Hubie Halloween. It's a more modern Adam Sandler film that came up on Netflix. And for some reason, it's just fun.
What's it called?
Hubie Halloween. It's Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, if you have a high tolerance for Adam Sandler, you'll probably find some fun in it.
So that's
if you have a
probably,
mediocre tolerance for Adam Sandler, I would avoid it.
that reminds me of. That reminds me of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I love that movie. That movie cracks me up.
It's got Alan Tudyk in it. I'm a sucker for him.
That movie cracks me up. I don't know if I consider that horror or
It's
even
absolutely,
Halloween,
it's a horror
but it's
comedy.
so much fun.
It is a horror comedy as much as House and those movies.
Yeah,
There we go,
I could see
Scrambles.
that.
How about
Now, a lot
Ernest
of
Scared Stupid?
Ash versus Evil Dead, which isn't a movie but a series. I
Right.
thought that was excellent.
Evil
I have
Dead
a lot
itself.
of fun with that. Do what?
Evil Dead itself.
Yeah, I didn't get into Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. I did enjoy Army of Darkness, but I enjoyed the Evil Dead series, so maybe I need to go back and watch Evil Dead 1 and 2 again. I know 2 is basically a higher budget remake of 1. I remember that. And yeah, actually, FP, it might have been before you popped in here, but we did talk about Monster Squad earlier. And I mentioned that that's one of those you kind of have to like, I love it, but it's cheesy and schlocky, and you kind of have to lean into it, right, to enjoy it. And then Mr. Matthews earlier mentioned that it was the Home Alone of Halloween movies. And I gotta say, I can absolutely go with that. I would also take the Goonies of Halloween movies as well, because they're kind of a troop.
If we're going with goofy movies too, don't forget Shaun of the Dead.
See, Carla likes UB Halloween, and Shaun of the Dead is good. However, out of the Cornetto film, I put that one second. My favorite one is still Hot Fuzz.
Oh, Hot Fuzz is so good.
Hot Fuzz is my absolute favorite. World's End is third. It's still fun. I like it. But if I go back and watch any of them, the one I'd watch first would be Hot Fuzz, personally.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. So Scrambles.
I know, but you could say Monster Squad is like the Goonies of Halloween movies, right?
Yeah, because Goonies really isn't a horror movie either.
Goonies isn't a horror movie. No. I don't even consider Goonies a horror movie.
Carla said, "Would you consider Gremlins Halloween or Christmas?" Christmas.
I put it in both. I think the original Gremlins in particular can count as sort of horror because I watched Critters this year, right? Because I'd never seen Critters, and while it was okay, I kept sitting here watching it, going, "I wish I was watching Gremlins instead."
The reason I put it as Christmas is because that's the time period. That's the time period of the movie.
It is absolutely around Christmas time.
Yeah,
but I still consider
Gizmo was a Christmas gift. No, it was definitely a horror movie.
It's one of those I feel like you can watch it in both seasons.
It's a thriller.
Yeah. I kind of put it in both. It's kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas. Is it
it's a comedy
movie
horror
or a Christmas movie?
You know what it's like? You know what it reminds me of in a way? Little Shop of Horrors.
Sir X-Men, blah blah blah. And that's one I haven't watched this year. I have seen that one, but it's been a long time since I sat down and watched it. And Little Shop of Horrors is a lot of fun.
It is, and depending on which one you watch, I've seen them both. But I have a soft spot for the Rick Moranis, Steve Martin.
And I have not seen. See, the guy who plays Ernest, I struggle
Jim
to
Varney.
enjoy his humor. I have seen a few of his movies. I've seen Ernest Saves Christmas, and it was okay. And I know people adore that movie, and that's a Christmas classic for them. It wouldn't be for me. And I have a feeling Scared Stupid would be very similar.
It would be.
But I would like to at least see it just to say I saw it. And see, Bill Murray's Scrooge, while it has horror elements, yes, I still count that as a Christmas movie.
Christmas movie. That's a total Christmas movie.
That's a fantastic movie, though. I love that movie.
So, I mean, there's other, like, I remember my grandparents had all the Abbott and Costello movies. So I used to, like Abbott and Costello meet the Mummy and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. Yeah, you were only saying the Ernest movies are like the Pee Wee movies. Yeah. More like holiday specials. And that's true. They really are more like holiday specials. However, they did do a couple of them, like Ernest joins the army or something.
Yeah, Ernest goes to camp.
Yeah, there is a whole series of
those
that
weren't
necessarily holiday focused.
Oh my God, I can't believe I just thought of this. You know, when I brought up Transylvania 65000 earlier, that was one of the two movies that wasn't the movie I was specifically thinking of, and I can't believe that I did. It just hit me. So there was all the Friday the 13th movies, and then there was this level D rated, like Saturday the 14th.
I've heard of that. I've never seen it.
I watched it when I was younger. It was like a early 80s movie. It was horrible, but it was hilarious, but it was horrible.
I may have to look that one up because I know I've heard of it, but for the life of me, I couldn't. I know I've not seen it. For sure, I've not seen it. Cat Orange was like, I don't know what she's whistling at. I wish these emotes translated better because they kind of kill me because I never know what they're doing. We already talked about Friday night, actually, before you popped in.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually talked about Friday night. And then Matthew's just with the emotes again. Okay, so
where
now
would
it is.
you
Now
put?
It's weird.
Where would you put an American Werewolf in London?
I haven't seen that one yet, so I can't place it.
Really? Wow, you got to catch up.
All
right, so where are we
didn't
putting
watch any horror as a kid. I was a wimp when it came to horror movies, so I've been spending a lot of my last couple of years of my adult life seasonally catching up.
Where?
But I don't really want to. I binge them so much during October. I don't want to watch them throughout the rest of the year. Like I'm just done.
Right. Where are we putting Ghostbusters?
I see. It's more of a comedy movie, but it does have Halloween-like aspects, and it's definitely got horror aspects. So I'd say comedy horror.
Yeah. Okay.
I definitely like to watch that one, and I like the second one too.
I
Around
like
this time of year, I haven't gotten to them yet. I also like the I honestly I thought for its time, the Real Ghostbusters, the animated series.
I love that.
Had some even more creative, spooky stuff in it than the movies because of what they could do with animation.
No, I enjoyed that one.
It says it's scary. It's also silly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so X-Men was playing Prototype during the early part of this. That makes sense. But yeah, no, I absolutely consider you can watch Ghostbusters around this time. You can easily watch the Gremlins movies. I like the second one too, even though it's just more goofy and madcap.
I do like this. I like the second,
but I like the second one. I think it's fun. It's one of those I like to put on when I just want to watch something fun around the season. It's kind of like Hotel Transylvania. It's got all the monsters in it, and you've got your Adam Sandler, but it's just a fun watch, right?
Yep,
it's something you could watch on your own and have a good time, or you could watch with the kids and put on for the kids to get them kind of in the spirit of the season, right? And those are really good films too, I feel like.
Are we throwing Buffy the Vampire Slayer in here anywhere?
I love that movie so much.
I do too.
I couldn't get into the series, but that movie.
Oh, my wife and I.
Oh my God. Pee Wee Herman's death sequence in the end.
Yes.
Oh my God. That's like the best thing ever.
No. And Rutger Hauer as Dracula was really good.
You're wrong, says the Ghostbusters reboot was pretty scary. Pretty scary and had ugly females. Dude, I saw that movie. I kid you not. I have seen the 2016 Ghostbusters movie 4 times. I saw it once in the theater, and I wasn't super excited to see it, but Nicole wanted to see it, so we went to go see it. And it was passable, but kind of bad. We both walked away pretty disappointed. I got the extended edition when I bought digital versions of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And I thought, let me watch the extended version and see what I think of it. And it was better. The technobabble hit. They had enough technobabble that they had cut that it seemed better at the time. And I think I watched it a third time, bound and determined that this movie wasn't going to suck. And I was trying to form my opinion on it for something else I was working on. And the technobabble was even worse. And the extended edition was actually just as bad as the theatrical. And then I watched it a 4th time because a buddy of mine had never seen it and swore there's no way it could be that bad. And so I kept my mouth shut and we watched it. And he turned to me and looked and he went, "That is the worst thing I think I've seen in years." And I'm like, I told you to not have high expectations walking into this film.
So I will tell you, we got 15 minutes into that movie, and my wife turned to me and said, "You can finish this if you want. I'm going to bed." She's like, "This is not
It
funny."
was bad.
It was.
And this is another one that often doesn't get
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, but shocker.
Wes
I
Craven.
thought that was a really good promise to start of a new series from Wes Craven, and it didn't go anywhere, but I quite enjoyed it.
Yep. And I know, Bourne brought up he'd like to see a Leprechaun versus
I need to
Chucky
watch more of the
movie.
Leprechaun films. I think I've seen maybe one of those.
I
And
would
I
I
remember
would
finding
actually
it
put
kind of creepy and disturbing and neat at the same time.
it is.
That's about it.
They consider. I mean, that's Jennifer Aniston. um, it it's actually considered a comedy horror.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
I
I
mean,
mean,
there
didn't they put
was
him in the hood at one point?
yeah, Leprechaun. Yes, at some point they did,
I
but the
mean,
original,
and I
but the
haven't seen
original really
Paranormal
was.
Activities. I did see the
I saw
last
them.
Friday the 13th, and I thought it was really good.
Paranormal
Paranormal
Activity.
Activities just struck me as one of those kind of like Blair Witch. Like I found myself really annoyed with the Blair Witch Project, not scared by the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Euron's Leprechaun in the Hood with iced tea. Oh my god, that just
Yeah.
sounds terrible.
You know,
It's probably really funny though.
you can't go. You really can't go through all of the vampire movies, all the Dracula movies without bringing up Leslie Nielsen. Dracula
Oh,
Dead and Loving
Dracula
It.
Dead and Loving It. I don't know if I've seen that all the way through. I
I
was starting to watch
really.
Once Bitten again today. That's another
Oh, that was a
vampire
good one
one.
too with Jim
And yeah,
Carrey.
with Jim Carrey. Yeah. And I remember watching it as a kid and enjoying it. And I was starting to watch it again today, and then I ran out of time. So I put it down for the time being with the intent of going back to it.
So is so racist by today's standards. So is Vampire in Brooklyn.
Vampire in Brooklyn. That one gets kind of dark.
It does get
It
dark.
gets dark real fast.
It
What's
does.
up,
I
JDA
mean,
Delete?
dude, and believe it or not, I consider that one of Eddie Murphy's better acting roles. And I
Yeah,
love Eddie
I
Murphy.
thought it
I
got
love
really
Eddie
creepy
Murphy.
and really dark pretty fast in that one. I expected it to be more comedy, honestly, and it wasn't. Like they leaned into the horror on it quite a bit. I was surprised.
Yep. I mean,
And did we mention Interview with the Vampire? Yes, in passing a little bit. We didn't focus on it a lot. Another one that kind of fits in the vampire vein that I don't know that you've seen yet, that's more recent, is Renfield.
Oh, I want to see that.
Oh, it's so
I want to
good.
see that.
It's
Was
so
it good?
good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Now, Nicolas Cage isn't in it a ton. He's maybe got about 15 minutes of time, but it's spaced enough that he feels like he's in more of the film than he really is.
Yeah.
But every time he's on screen playing Dracula, I'm just like, this is the role I didn't know I needed you to play, and I need more of this. A lot more of this.
Uh-huh. And by the way, just as an aside, the reason that Vampire in Brooklyn was so dark is because Wes Craven directed that.
Oh, he did. Okay,
That's
that
why.
makes sense. That makes sense. I was about to say, because that got kind of messed up pretty fast. It did not go the direction I thought it was going to go when I put it on. Because I was thinking Eddie Murphy, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna go kind of dark comedy here. Nope. This was not a funny film. It was actually a serious vampire film, and I'm like, well, it wasn't super scary or anything, but it was interesting to see it done the way it is. And another one that always pops into mind when you think Eddie Murphy in movies that are kind of scary, that this one isn't Halloween, The Golden Child.
I love that movie.
That's not a horror movie, really.
It's not. I never got scared on that one, but that was a great.
I mean, as a kid, when you see the guy turn into like the devil and stuff like that, and he's chasing him, as a child, that crap's kind of scary, right?
I don't know. I was more just kind of staring at Charlotte Lewis the whole time.
That's fair. And see, it was marketed as a comedy, and they played up the funniness in the trailers, but that's not really how it came across when you watch the film. Not in my opinion, anyway.
She was amazing. So
Yeah.
that's a good question too. Where does Van Helsing fit in this? Because believe it or not, I
Are
really
we
enjoyed
talking
that
like
movie.
the Hugh Jackman?
Yes. I
I
really like
like
that
that,
movie.
but that's kind of more
He
action
went up against Wolfman and Dracula
and Frankenstein.
and
He had
Frankenstein,
an encounter with Frankenstein.
and he started out fighting Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. Well, no, that was
Huge Jackman.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think.
No, at the beginning of
Did
Van
he?
Helsing. Yeah.
Okay.
He
It's been
fought
a while since I've seen it.
You're thinking. I know what yes, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen,
Yeah,
but
and it
at the
was the first
beginning,
person that they were particularly tracking down. That they were
exactly
tracking him down.
because they wanted him to join the League.
Right.
In Van Helsing, he fought him in the first scene.
And Zombie classifies as action horror, and I can kind of go with that. Because it's got all the horror elements and trappings, but it's
Yeah,
clearly
but
more
it's
meant to
definitely
be
an
an
action
action
movie.
film.
It's definitely
Yeah.
an action film.
And I thought Golden Child was a great movie. I love that movie.
Yes. We didn't
We didn't
forget.
forget Carrie
So
and Christine. We
you
already
are
talked
late.
about those.
You're
Dude, you
late.
missed
That's the
half the
problem.
show.
Exactly. We covered those. We covered those right away, my man.
Yeah, we covered those, and we talked about Cujo, and we talked about It. We didn't go
Yeah.
too deep into It. I personally, I like the TV series better than the movies, but I thought they were both good.
Yeah.
But no, we covered those. We
How
covered
about
a lot
Idle
of this.
Hands?
I haven't seen Idle Hands.
I didn't like it, but it is a comedy horror.
Sir Xmas, whatever. Just because you're here and not paying attention doesn't mean we didn't cover stuff, dude.
Hey, it's not my fault. It's not our fault. You were playing Prototype.
Ronald
When the
Dahl's
show
old
was
movie
on. You've been on
Witches
it.
freaked me out as a kid. I don't think I've seen this one.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale in both Van Helsing and then Underworld.
And then
Underworld's
yeah.
another one of those that
Hey.
kind of skirts that line. It's kind of action horror, right?
Yeah.
Clearly more
Kinda.
action than horror, but horror elements.
I mean, well, if you're doing Underworld, that's sort of you're getting into Blade territory.
Yeah. And I do watch Blade around this time of year. I watched Blade 1 and 2 this year.
Love those two.
But there's never really a bad time to watch the Blade films. I mean, just whenever I'm in the mood, I'll watch the Blade films.
Yeah.
That's just how those movies are for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, Blade was the original Marvel.
Yeah, and what killed me the most is when the Black Panther dropped, and they're like, "Finally, we have a black superhero," and I'm like,
"Blade?
Where have you guys been?
Right? Where have you been? My man's been in 3 movies. Right? The dude beat Dracula.
I'm fine with there being more. Bring in more superheroes of different ethnicities. That's great, but don't sleep on Blade, guys.
Who was the original Marvel? Oh,
yeah. Wesley Snipes needs a reboot. Well, I mean, Blade is getting a reboot.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I think it's out.
My confidence is low with Disney's Marvel entries of late, so I'm not real sure where that's gonna go. Let's just say my confidence is low.
Yeah, I have no desire in seeing the new Blade.
Yeah, had everything gone to plan, Blade would have met Morbius and Blade 2.
Yeah, Blade. Wesley Snipes is Blade.
But Blade 2 is also in someone. Honestly, I kind of like the direction that they went with it. Because I thought the Reapers were just like a more almost horridly terrifying version of a vampire. And another one that we haven't mentioned that fits into body horror and is inspirational to a lot of other horror films. The Thing.
I was going to bring
up which is sci-fi horror, but it's still horror.
And actually, I was going to bring up Swamp Thing.
I haven't seen Swamp Thing. I mean, I can totally see where you're going with it, but I haven't seen Swamp Thing. I have not seen the stuff, Scepter. I mentioned wanting to watch that and The Blob because I haven't seen either one of them. Yeah, JDA deletes talking about Blade. It says it stops getting delayed. It's already lost 2 directors already. Yeah.
Well, Marvel itself
50
is.
Shades of Grey considered horror? I don't think so. Zombie says both great choices, and he loves Swamp Thing, the TV show as well. I didn't know there was a TV show.
Yeah. I mean, do we talk about? I mean, there's also the scary movies, which.
Well, those are just
lie,
fun. Well,
like.
okay, the first couple of those are really fun. After that, I feel like they just kind of.
After that, it got dumb, but.
Yeah, it got really dumb really fast. Like they were struggling to kind of keep the franchise going, but they didn't really spend the time on the material that they did with the first couple of them to make a hit. But I do enjoy those. I mean, as far as like campy fun horror movie, but that's where I put stuff like and this is another campy one that you may not have seen, Dylan Dog.
No, I haven't seen that one.
They have like a wolf man that looks, it's like the worst suit ever. Like literally when he howls and he raises his arms up, you can see the joints where they put things on in the suit and stuff, and it's just campy, goofy, stupid stuff. It's got the guy who played Superman in Superman Returns, I think, is the lead character.
Brandon Routh.
Yeah, and it's a fun film, but it's very schlocky, like CD level.
Yeah,
trying to do practical effects kind of stuff, and it's just corny, right? Like if you're looking for corny, stupid, it'll work.
And
see, one of the best horror movie series left from the 80s is Dr. Giggles. I don't think I've seen Dr. Giggles.
I don't remember Dr. Giggles.
And I don't remember
Jacob's Ladder. I forgot about
Jacob's Ladder. I didn't remember Jacob's Ladder.
Hey, what's up, Chad? Brother Chad's in the house.
Zombie says The Blob is one of the good remakes of the 80s, along with The Thing, The Fly, and the later 2000 remakes of The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left. And I haven't seen a lot of those. I haven't seen any versions of The Blob, and I really do need to get The Blob a chance. It looks cool.
The first Blob, the original Blob was wild. How about I remember.
Yeah, we've talked about the stuff a little bit here, and I haven't seen the stuff yet. I get the premise that they found this thing kind of oozing in the ground, and he sold it as like a snack thing, but then it starts doing things to people. So I get the general premise, but I've never actually seen it.
Craft.
You wrong, and Scepter are now friends. He's like, oh my God, somebody else who watched Dr. Giggles, Scepter is now my friend.
The Craft was a good movie.
Scepter's got some skills, you're wrong.
I don't know whatever happened to Fairuza Balk, but I remember The Craft. That was a scary ass movie.
The Craft was interesting, but what was funny is I went to see that with a buddy of mine. We were both like 20 at the time. And the lady get behind the counter when we went to buy the tickets, gave us the nastiest look and actually carded us to go see the film. I'm like, nobody has carded me for an R-rated film in like 3 to 4 years, probably longer.
You should have taken that as a compliment.
Carding me for this film, whatever.
Taking that as a compliment.
No, she just didn't want anybody seeing the film. She didn't like it. I thought it was a fun film. And I do intend to watch the stuff at some point. I just gotta find a way to watch it. Zombie else said Dr. Giggles. I always remember the scene where he was going to kill a kid till I saw him playing Dr. Mario. Now, the Wraith I don't think has been mentioned tonight, and I don't remember this one off the top of my head. And you know what? Somebody else was talking about picking up a copy of Chopping Mall the other day. And they said they picked it up at like a pawn shop or something like that. And I think it might have been on one of Panda Sub streams that they were. And no, I was watching the Super Basement Brothers on rewatch because I missed it when it went live on Friday. and they were talking. Somebody had mentioned picking up a copy of Chopping Mall, and I've heard of Chopping Mall. I've just never seen it. I kind of want to, actually, having seen the description of it. It seems like just kind of the sloppy kind of thing I would probably enjoy. Um, was it the Walking Dead, the old Walking Dead film? Dawn of the Dead. I'm sorry, Dawn of the Dead,
Dawn
not
of the
Walking
Dead.
Dead. Dawn of the Dead was really good. And I'm normally not a zombie movie guy. 28 Days Later was another one that was really good. As far as
That was
zombie
all
movies
right.
go.
Yeah. Zombieland. Sorry.
Zombieland's just fun.
It is
Sometimes I'll
fun.
watch that one outside of like horror season just because it's funny.
I
I
never
feel
saw
like
the
they
second one.
hit the right notes on that one to keep that
They
balance
did,
throughout that
but
film.
I did not see Double Tap.
I think I have seen Double Tap, and it wasn't quite as good, but it was still a good film. I have not seen Warlock 1989. However,
Don't
we are
try to.
4 minutes till the hour.
Yep, and I know
we
you've
do
got.
need to kind of wrap up kind of quick because I have a hard stop at 10. By hard stop, I mean I have to log into my computer and literally go to work right then. And they're probably all already kind of gathering together. We had not mentioned Pumpkinhead. We didn't get the Pumpkinhead. And I would love to keep talking about this. However, I do not have the time, unfortunately. Mike, tell people what you got going up on your channel today, or this week, rather. I know NLG's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, NLG show is tomorrow night. Don't know what we're really talking about yet, because I think we've blown our load on all the news, and it's kind of
if I have to hear about the ABK Guild again, I'm going to hurt somebody.
Me.
I'm so tired of it.
We're over it. It's done. It's done. They've been acquired. That's it. It's done. So now we wait. So I don't know what we're talking about tomorrow night, but we're going to talk about something. And then Wednesday, I'm going to be on with Chuck and stuff for a very special Halloween version of Amico Forever. Thursday, I will be back with NLG Live at 10:15, and I haven't decided yet what I'm doing. But I think we're going back to.
I love Puppet Master. They keep bringing up amazing movies. Hi, by the way, Sam. Not trying to ignore you. We are trying to wrap up kind of quick because I literally got to go to work in like 30 minutes.
Yep. And then Friday we're gonna go back to Exoprimal because Scottish Viking Gaming wants to play. So I'm like,
if I wasn't doing something with my buddy, I would absolutely join you.
No, you
had a really good time last time.
Yeah, it was fun. So we're gonna do that, and so yeah, I actually tweeted out and put up a copy of our schedule. So it's really.
That's one of the things I've got to do on this channel is set a schedule.
Yep.
It's easier for me to do like Saturday and Sunday afternoons or Saturday and Sunday evenings. Afternoons are better. And then Monday is debatable. I've been trying to do things with my wife every other Monday that we're not on this. Like trying to make it like Monday, a date night thing, but that's been flying apart at the handle for a while now. So I'll work something in there.
Yeah, every other Monday I do retro. So
yeah,
and it's all 10:15 except for the NLG show, which is 9:30. So
yeah, and I would like to work a retro show in because I want to get back into doing more retro gaming on the Rumble channel. To do more of it, I just haven't gotten back into it lately. So.
Oh, I know what I'm doing Thursday. It's either going to be Condemned or The Evil Within. Because it's still Halloween, so I'm still trying to Halloween theme it up.
No, that makes total sense. So I finished up my Halloween game for the season. I might do something with Resident Evil, but it's hitting towards the end of the season, and so I may go back and finish Sea of Stars and pick up a couple of other things that I want to play. Because I do want to finish Sea of Stars. I do want to see the end of that one for sure. And I put it down because I wanted to do some Halloween themed stuff for the season. So I'll probably go back
Big
to
Block
that.
says, go play Exoprimal with Mike. It's a blast. I'm out of town Friday, so someone better step up.
Yeah, Exoprimal is a lot of fun. I do recommend you guys try it if you have Game Pass.
Yes. Anyone who wants to game with us is always open.
So I had a video come out today on both Rumble and YouTube on pinball.
Yep. Great
kind
video.
Of the origin of pinball, which I thought was actually really, really interesting. Sea of Stars is actually quite good, L. I do recommend it, and it's on Game Pass if you have it right now for PC or on Xbox. Um, where's the chat on Rumble? I can't show that one on screen right now, Zombie. And the reason I can't is because I don't have that connectivity through StreamYards. It won't link it to where I can share it. So that's one of the reasons I'm going to move away from StreamYards pretty soon. I've been meaning to do it so I can pull both chats in and have it work that way and then bring them both up. I would love to be able to do that. I just can't do it with my setup right now. That annoys me. So Wednesday, I have another odd controller thing coming up. I'm going to try to work on a Neo Geo video this week. I'm going to do another console video. I got a lot of work done on it this weekend, so I need to start putting more of that together and getting it all together. And then I am working on something that I'm debating on making Rumble exclusive. I haven't made up my mind yet. It's going to be a new series on developers that are no longer in business, like Midway, Acclaim, Ocean, Sunsoft, things like that, right? And kind of what they did, what they were known for, how they kind of became the company they were, and kind of where their assets went as they kind of fell off. I'm just not sure if that's going to be Rumble exclusive. And the reason I'm not sure it's going to be Rumble exclusive is because while those are starting to gain more traction and people are starting to find them, Rumble still makes it hard to organize things right now, and it doesn't promote them the same way it does live content. And I would like most people be able to see that I could. But I would like to do a Rumble exclusive series.
I don't know if you
Good
saw
morning, Chad, by the way.
I don't know if you saw it, and Lumpy was kind enough to use a screenshot of mine. But,
I saw that they had the video. They had the video tab.
So now they're getting there. And Rick said,
they don't have playlists yet. I don't feel like they're really promoting the videos the same way they do live content yet. They're getting there. I mean, they're making steps to get it out there. Like I'm seeing more notifications about videos going up on my email and stuff.
Yep.
So they're getting much better at it. I just don't feel like it's quite to the same place.
Not yet. No, of course not.
But it's definitely getting there. They're making really good strides towards uploaded content. But I do need to cut out. I am 2 minutes late to go back to work. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I had a blast. Hopefully, you guys had a good time. If you have not, follow, like, sub, all those good things. Leave comments down below or anything like that, particularly on the Rumble side, because Rumble seems to love that kind of stuff. And come back and hang out with us again. I do live streams on here. I have history content on here. Mike has his channel with tons of streams and live shows, and occasionally does some uploaded stuff, though not as much anymore. And keep on coming back. We'd love to have you engaged in chat. The more of you talking, the more fun these shows are. But we are going to go ahead and get out of here. Unfortunately, live streamers bring more people to the platform than people enjoy video backlogs. Yeah, they absolutely do.
Absolutely,
you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I would like to see uploads start to gain some traction on Rumble. I think it would round out the platform. And that's the stuff I'd love doing more, quite frankly. I like doing these live streams and I like doing gaming streams, but I have more fun doing the edited content. I learn more and I feel like I produce something that's more evergreen than a lot of the other stuff that I do. A lot of the game stuff I find is kind of a here and gone kind of thing. Whereas I feel like a lot of the moments and the oddities and the console stuff is more evergreen stuff that people can always go back and watch and gain something new out of it. And I like doing that. But I do have to bounce out of here now because I have to work now. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Come back. Love all you guys. Happy gaming, all that good jazz.
Yeah, I love you guys. Play on, gamers.